Hello and welcome to Lords of War podcast. We're coming back for our third episode. Today we're going to talk about more Malifaux, getting you guys ready for our Lords of War weekend that's coming up. We're actually only about a week and a half, almost actually just over a week left until the event hits. It's August the 16th. And yeah, we've been away for a while. I guess we've been a little bit busy with life, running a hobby shop, kids, that sort of thing, for some of us.
One of us has kids, like literally, and I'm available all the time.
We're all going to jump in on that excuse, I think.
That's right. They all raise my kids, people, because I can't.
Kids. And yeah, we've all been busy, but that doesn't mean we haven't been working on our stuff. So yeah, we'll start off by talking about what everybody's been working on for the last couple weeks. We're going to touch on schemes, because last time we talked about all the different strategies that you'll be playing at the event and that you can play in Malifaux. So we'll look at the schemes and how they'll interact with the different strategies. And then we'll talk about what you might need to do to get ready for a big event, whether it's the one coming up for this one or another one, or just preparing for something at your local store. So I'm just going to go around and ask the guys. You guys remember Ash from Guerrilla Miniature Games?
Hello.
We got Jason Zajac, who is my partner in crime.
How's it going?
We got Mr. Jordan Cameron.
How's it going?
And Stan McKim. Who's gone?
Well,
we just got too. Amazing.
He's pulling an Ash. Okay. Anyways, Ash. So Ash, what have you been working on lately?
Backup plan. You go. Well, for Malifaux, I've been working on some Silurids. I'm thinking about taking one in my pool for the gaining grounds, because they're great durable scheme runners. They're a bit more expensive for Neverborn than the Terratots are, and the Terratots tend to mesh better with my chosen masters. But a Silurid is kind of a standalone, awesome scheme runner. He's fairly defensive. He can get himself out of trouble with leap. He can get himself on top of scenery and to be unchargeable with leap. And leap isn't as card requisite as sprint is on the little guys. So I have 3 of them. I put them together. I've got them all base coded and stuff. I'm working on them. And I also painted some stitched together. Now these are really hard to get your hands on right now because they haven't been redone in plastic. But if you haven't played them or against them, they are the most aggravating miniature to play against ever, because they have creepy fog. It's a 0 action, and it lets them drop basically a 4-inch soft cover that people can just walk around inside with them all the time. So they're just mobile cover. So now everything in your sort of advancing bricks, if you're playing turf war in the middle, or if you've been playing squatters' rights, where you're coming up the middle with some hitters, you can throw a soft cover on everything for free, and there's no way to get rid of it because it's not conditioned. And then they have this ridiculous ability called Gamble Your Life, where it's an opposed duel against willpower. It's a casting duel, and it has an insane damage grid of 3, 4, 7. The only problem with it is if it doesn't go off, they hit themselves with it. And it only has a 6-inch range or an 8-inch range. So they're a really interesting support piece to get your guys into the middle. And then they have this crazy casting, because they can target stuff in melee with it because it's casting. Offensive against willpower thing. So he's a really cool minion piece. If you combine him with the next piece that I'm painting, which is Widow Weaver, it's so much worse, because then you can drop Gamble Your Life and Webs together, which are all -1 willpower, to just crush guys with crazy amounts of damage. So you drop 3 or 4 Webs every turn. In Turf Wars, the guys are at -3, -4 willpower. And then you gamble your life against them, and it's just a crushing, super damage grid. And the damage can never be cheated. It can never be cheated, and it never suffers any modifiers at all. So even if you only get it off by 1 or 2, or even just flat, it's the same damage grid no matter what. It's just a straight flip. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Just some silly little combos. The rest of my sort of staple stuff is done, and then I'm thinking about going dual faction, for my next sort of arc into Malifaux. I'm either gonna I'm gonna actually finish my Outcasts. I'll come back to Hannah, or I'm gonna do the 10 Thunders side of Jacob Lynch, because I have a Mizaki box set that I really want to paint and just start running them as 10 Thunders, because it's a really interesting mix when you start mixing the ninjas with things like Illuminated and Depleted and Graves and Tannin. like Mr. Graves is going to do some extra work carrying around Mizaki and throwing her around because he's so used to throwing.
Always
her
got a
around.
lady under his arm, eh? He's
That's it, man. Like, he's just always throwing ladies around. What he does. But like getting Mizaki into combat with his like push ability, stuff like that, is just he's super useful. And then preventing charges back because he can keep the peace and prevent things within 6, or at least force a willpower tool on guys within 6 to keep them from charging is pretty huge too. So that's my plan and what I've been working on.
That's cool, man. Jay, what have you been up to?
Oh, what did I do there? I guess I finished off. Well, I didn't really finish. I finished the boxes I had, which were the 3 crews that I for my pool. So I mean, Misaki's been done for a little while, but I got to finish Yamano's crew. So I got his screw done, and I still have those bits and bobs. To be honest, I spent more time playing games than painting models this week, which wasn't that bad, I guess. But
it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem, I guess. But I guess it helps to open your eyes a bit to what you might be missing. So I feel like I could definitely add some more utility models to like both, whether it's Yanlo or the Brewmaster or whatnot.
Mr. Graves, buddy, he's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, can he throw anyone, or is he just
friendly models?
Yeah,
He just,
throwing
as long
models
as he gets it off.
Way too good. Yeah.
As long as he gets it off, they can just choose to auto-fail the defense roll. So he just really needs to flip a 6, and it's on. He can just push them 6 inches.
Oh,
and then he follows up on them too.
Yeah. No, definitely a distinct possibility there. I still need to give Amanozako a try. I like, her ability to swallow things. I'm yet to do that to someone in a game, so I'm a little excited about that. But otherwise, just I got to play Jordan, which I guess we'll talk about a bit later. Which was pretty fun. I had to play against Rasputina, and that was going well. It was educational. It was going pretty well until I had just Jan Lone left, and he just repeatedly paralyzed him. So
yeah, chain paralyzed is a lot of fun.
I was so optimistic because the game went on a 5th and 6th turn. I think it may have actually gone a 7th turn as well.
It did. It went all of them.
We just kept dropping kings and things like that, but it didn't matter when I would just keep getting paralyzed. Oh, you know what it was? It was I couldn't win an initiative duel to save my life.
Yeah.
And I was out of soulstone. I think we both were, and it was just, it was I'd flip an 8 and Jordan would flip a 9. I'm like, no, and then he'd be so paralyzed. I hate you. But I think that was a pretty slim game. I think you won that game 6-5 or something like that, or 6-4.
Yeah, it was really close.
It was very close. Yeah. So that was good. Speaking of the Silverids, I got to play against those as well. I think you did too, Ash. Probably where maybe we got the idea from when Rico dropped in. And that was kind of cool playing against Sereda. I managed to win that game 5-4. So I'm still not in that tournament winning margin, but it's a small victory. So
I actually played once. I didn't get to play Sereda.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, yeah. They're those stupid Silverids and their that free leap they do is game changing. It's incredible. I'm gonna just ignore a piece of scenery and go do this thing, and then I still have 2 actions left. So it's crazy. No, that was interesting, and also getting to see his little puppet in action.
Yeah.
Which is just obnoxious because he doesn't really care. As soon as he binds it to a model, he doesn't have to attack it. You attack, you get hit too. If you want to get rid of the puppet, your guy's been taking damage. So
you just make a new one.
You just make a new one, yeah. So I'm trying to think what worked out there. I think I just trying to remember. I think it was the demoralizing effect of the Ashuru with the hard to kill and armor 1, just soaking so much damage, and then you can just use Yalno to heal them. He has he's got the instilled youth thing, which is just ridiculous because he just does a willpower duel, and whatever he wins that duel by, they heal that much damage up to a max of 4. So I think the target number is 12 or maybe 10. So you just any face card, you just heal 3 or 4 wounds basically. So on a skeleton that already requires minimum 2 attacks to kill it, like 2 high damage attacks to kill it, or 1 high damage, 1 low damage is grimy. So that worked well, and some other little shenanigans like with teleporting Yalmo around him and his swip swap, or whatever you want to call his ability. Like it's his lightning dance, I think it's called. Sorry, you can switch spots or things. So no, it was cool. I felt like I controlled the board and wasn't really afraid of anything on the board, I guess. And then not because of Zoraida, but more because of just confidence and like knowing kind of what you can do and what you can't do, and knowing that once Yalmo ascends, he's not going to die, or it's very hard to kill him. So yeah, he's incorporeal, and you can't cheat damage against him. And he has what else? It's hard to wound as well, or he's negative on the damage flip as well. So played those 2 games, and yeah, just playing games, learning games.
Getting comfy with your masters.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I think it goes without saying you could easily need like, I don't know, 10 games with a crew box to really like figure out all the ins and outs, or not even all of them, just enough so that you kind of don't spend half of the start of your game reading all your cards. Like what does this do again?
What does it do again?
Yeah. So I'm getting there slowly. I'm which is good. So I think I'm actually already looking at whatever the next, kind of like you were saying, Ash, what the next faction might be, and that new what's that new where's Karis crew or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I just want to paint Angel Girl. It looks so cool.
Well, the nice thing about Thunders is everything's dual faction. So
yeah.
You just have your pick. It's like, which of these crews
I could just paint
the
Mayfang box and then start going that way.
Going that way,
yeah.
That was the nice thing about starting with Jacob Lynch. When I was redoing all my M2E stuff, is I had the option of going either or.
Yeah, it's really cool. Jay, you also touched on something which I really like is, and I recommend this to anybody who starts, picks up a new crew. I would really suggest playing with the models in the box a lot first before you start tweaking and adding and changing things up, because you really gives you a good sense of what that crew is capable of. If you start kind of changing things up too soon, you might miss out on some things and kind of miss the point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think it's a surprise that when Weird designs these crews and their boxes, everything in the box is there for a reason. It's not like, we're just gonna throw in this cool thing and to fill up a sprue or something. Like
Unless it's Lucius.
Yeah.
With one exception. Everyone has one exception.
I guess. Well, generally.
Just ask Chris. Just ask Chris. He's painting Lucius. How good are Guild Guards? Huh?
Guild Guards?
Yeah, how good are they?
Are you suggesting that they should be in the box?
I'm just suggesting that maybe Guild Rifleman would be better. That's all.
Hey, Guild Guard worked great with McMorning.
No, there will be better options for sure, but I think just usually if you just play with what's in there, you'll like, because they'll have abilities that help each other out, or chain activate, or if you sacrifice this guy, like you'll like, what is it, like in Yalom's box, like his little soul porter guy, he's okay, he gets to move models for free, but if I sack him, if I need an extra point of chi last minute to do something, like he does that. Like, is he really that like clutch to the crew? Maybe, I don't know, debatable, but I don't even think I've played enough with it, even though I would say 5 games in, I still I would swap that guy yet, but that's why you play like you play 50 points. That usually gives you at least one model you can swap in and out without killing the inherent synergy of the crew.
Absolutely. Jordan, what have you been up to, man?
I've been doing the exact same thing that Jason's been doing. I don't think I've actually finished a model. Oh, no, actually, I finished the crew, which was really easy since it was the Nightmare edition of Rasputina. So she's like 80%.
I based them.
Yeah. So I kept most of them blue, but I painted Rasputina, all of her clothing, and I painted the Wendigo so that the Wendigo's standing on a frozen statue, and Rasputina looks like she's made of ice, because that's what Jay, who gave me the box set, different Jason, that I was gonna.
I think his name's actually just Jay.
I think it's just Jay too. Now that I say that.
Is it Jason or Jason?
Jason, yeah, I had that the other day. That's great.
Wow. But it's a the way that he was going to do it, so I figured I'd do the same thing.
Actually, I really like that you left her face and hands unpainted. They looked really icy. I think that was a really nice touch, and like, so like now when I look at the model, I know that she was actually a special edition model, but she doesn't look unfinished and like lazy. It's like you really thought about it. So.
Like the other half of the crew, which looks unfinished and lazy.
Yeah, you did some great basing. There's some great basing.
There's some really just fantastic basing.
There's multi-step basing.
It's all very nicely sculpted.
Yeah, very nicely sculpted.
It's a hobby achievement.
I finished those. Hey, you know what? About the bases from you. Shut up.
Shutting up.
I finished up the crew, and then I played a game against Jason. I've played a couple games against a friend of mine too, where I got to kind of just feel out how Rasputina works, and finding out that she can put out a lot of damage.
Hiding behind a wall, yeah.
I didn't even hide behind a wall, man. I got into melee range. It's insane.
Her best ability by far is that freeze that she does. That like once you hit her, you can't hit her. Once you successfully hit her, you're not allowed to hit her again with that model. Yeah.
And with 10 or 12 wounds, I think it is, she's just like she's not easy to get rid of. And I take the Ice Pillars upgrade so that if I need to, I can ditch that to go to Defense 8 for a turn, meaning that if I really, really need to not get hit, I usually can. Or at least, sorry, for Defense 8 for an attack. And I found that usually keeping clustered up, including her, actually made it better because I took the upgrade on the Frost Golem, or the Ice Golem, so that whenever somebody within 8 inches with the Frozen Heart gets hit, after suffering damage by a melee attack, the attacker's activation ends. The look on your opponent's face when you're like, so your model's done, after they do a single melee attack against like your tiny little Frost Gammon or Ice Gammon, or they hit your Ice Golem thinking they're going to get 2 or 3 more attacks on them, and nope, you're done.
Yeah, it's
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The one thing I have noticed with her is that she does not have her crew doesn't have the AP to do interact actions. Like if I have to do any kind of scheme running, her crew, like I need to take specific dedicated people for that because the Ice Gammon, the Ice Golem, and Rasputina do not have AP to spare for that kind of thing.
Well, that makes sense that they should have some sort of weakness, I suppose.
Right? The fact that I killed 4 models with Rasputina alone in a single activation just kind of, that was really good.
Yeah, because her main attack, December's Chill or whatever it's called, it can trigger additional attacks, right?
It can, which again can't trigger an attack after that, so it means that theoretically she could have 6 attacks.
6 attacks. Wow.
With her ranged. In close combat, she can just keep going because you just take it again and it can declare triggers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so with December's Curse, the ranged attack one, that's the one where it's actually got a double blast with its severe damage.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm able to treat with her, just her, the black Joker as the red Joker, I was doing tons and tons and tons of damage with her. Like it was, like I said, I killed 4 models in one round. Like it was in one activation, rather. It was really good.
Yeah, I believe it. I played against her before. She's pretty mean.
Yeah, but like I said, like if you're not prepared for scheme running, like in some way, like just taking December Acolytes or something else, nice and quick, that'll be able to run around and do something else rather than just kill things. You'll lose out on your secondaries and your even just fooling your opponent and tricking them into what scheme and you've actually taken. So.
Yeah, I imagine her having more of a sort of like a guild approach, which is if you don't have any models left alive, I can do objectives.
Oh, wow.
Her damage output's almost more about board control. It's
Yeah.
about the fact that you know she can do that, so you stay away from X or Y spot. Because she's not super fast.
Yeah, she only moves, I think it's 3.
Yeah, she's 3 with 3 actions, so she can move.
Yeah, The nice thing is though, actually, I was using it a lot. Was pushing her around. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
weirdly enough, throwing the girl around again.
That's it.
With the ice golem, because he's got a one action, just hurl somebody 10 inches. So
Are they paralyzed at the end of it though?
no, they're insignificant.
Insignificant.
So
That's
they
right. So
can't take
you can't do it interact.
Yeah, but they only take damage if they collide with another model. So as long as you aim it properly, if you don't want them to hit another model, then they don't. So you can still continue to activate them. So I had
That's
no
cool.
problem repositioning her, even when she was in combat, because it's a push. So I just walked over and flung her out of
Picked her up
combat.
and chucked her away.
Yeah, and if I move him into base contact, I can then start paralyzing people. So it was pretty good.
That's
Eye-opening.
awesome. Yeah, it's so much of the game because we default playing so many other different games into brawling, and then you play a few games where you realize that brawling's not going to get you the win.
Yeah.
Like, this is so good, but now that it's turn 6 and I haven't killed everything, you've got 5-10 VPs, and I've lost.
Yeah, I managed to win 2 out of the 3 last games that I played with her, because I did manage to beat Jay, like I said, by like you said, I think it was 1 victory point. And my last game, I think I scored 7, but yeah, it's still, you got to really stay on top of stuff, especially moving. I looked at all of my schemes and was like, well, I can't take anything that involves putting down interact actions, because with just the starter box with her, you don't have anything to really do that without completely neutering your everything else you're trying to do, like your damage output, to the point where you're like, you need to have those ice gammon around you so that you can use her abilities. So I took all the ones that required me to either kill things or be still alive.
Yeah,
The problem was,
bodyguard and make them suffer and stuff like that.
I just couldn't move far enough. I'm not fast enough. So halfway through the game, I realized I wasn't going to score any points. It was rough.
I think that is a winning sort of like sign of good game writing, where you can have something that's really good at something, but then you kind of find the obvious balance for it later on, so you don't really feel bad about that level of damage output. It's like, hey, she's really good at this, but oh, hang on,
Yeah,
she can't do all these things.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
pretty
think
good.
Malifaux taught us anything. It's a game about balance, right? Like, I mean, there's times to kill models, and there's times to not. So,
Yeah, I think the number one thing, because we're talking about this earlier, we're talking about Age of Sigmar and how the game trigger, the win trigger is all about wounds. Like, you have to try and remove your opponent's wounds while maintaining your wounds and achieving objectives. I feel like Malifaux is all about actions. It's all about economy of actions. How many actions can you take
Sure.
versus can your opponent take? Because most of the win triggers in strats and schemes have you taking some kind of action.
Yeah.
Right, so you're earning VPs by hurting something, so it's offensive actions. By moving, so it's it's movement plus walk actions. Like, there's always an associated action that's earning you that win. And so learning to be good at Malifaux is learning about what kind of actions do I include in my list and how do I use them in game.
Definitely.
well, I've started to. I kind of got this impression in the last couple of games I played where sometimes I'm starting to target the squishy models, not because I'm afraid of them or whatever, but more to strip activations and actions. Like, you can have your big Teddy and whatever you got and your big guy, but if that's all you're doing on your turn, then that just gives me free models to go do my interacts or whatever I need to do. So as long as I can kill off your low armor weak guys, just get rid of them. So, like, big deal, you activate 2-3 guys on your turn. I've got 6 on my side. It's like I kind of, it reminded me of Games of Infinity, like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Orders are all
once your order pool is gone, it's really one and the same thing, to be honest.
Yep.
Just you don't have a token on the side of the table, so it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah, from a game mechanic point of view, yeah, it's how many times do I get to do a thing. The only thing, I think it's even more entrenched in Infinity, because it's how many times can anyone do a thing, because the orders are
Sure.
around, right? So your hitters go up and down in value based on how many times they can do something. So late game, your hitters aren't as powerful as they are at the beginning.
Yeah, the other thing too is when you're doing for example, an offensive action, and you have perhaps schemes that are interact oriented, you have to really ask yourself, is this action I'm using actually going to help me win the game?
Yeah.
A lot of people get caught in that mentality, just like you guys were saying. Like, if you're spending those actions, which are valuable resources in the game, you want to make sure you're putting them towards
winning.
achieving the objectives, right? Stan, so if hopefully you're still there, what have you been working on?
Well, I finished Leviticus and his crew, so it's all painted up and in the cabinet at Lords of War. I actually got a game in with him as well, versus your Hoffman crew.
Yes, you
And,
did.
oh my bad.
Can you lean into the mic, dude? I can barely hear you. Much
Oh, way
better.
better.
Yeah, Leviticus does bad things to people in all the best kind of ways. So my intention was to try to play Leviticus really aggressively, and so in my very first game, it was up against Hoffman and his crew. We played 50 points. Yeah, we played 50 Soulstones, right?
Yeah, it was 50.
And yeah, I took some convict gunslingers. I had my Rusty Alice and Killjoy, Leviticus, of course, and it's late. I can't remember the robot's name. Lazarus, yeah, Lazarus.
I'll always remember Lazarus.
Did you get Lazarus / Leviticus bombed?
Oh, there was a Killjoy too. I don't know if you heard that.
And a Killjoy bomb? Okay, good, yeah.
Yeah. So I took all the meanest models and pushed them forward, and
He lined up the A team and just ran me over.
Just teleported onto you.
It was a mess. But I did learn a lot about using the hollow waifs, and definitely about the balance between taking extra damage to give yourself a bunch of positive twists with Leviticus versus maybe holding on to a few wounds just when needed. Like any sort of shooting definitely makes you think twice about whether or not you want to take that extra bit of damage. But overall, I mean, Leviticus is known to be an effective killy crew. I definitely found it to be so. But to be honest, like I definitely felt like there were some weaknesses in there too.
It telegraphs really hard.
Yeah.
And it's order operation intensive, so like you get something wrong late game and then it doesn't go off.
Yeah, and a perfect example was moving one of my hollow waifs around a building that was on the table. I thought that she was going to be out of range of Chris's executioner, and she was not. And I mean, that just losing that one hollow waif changes everything for the rest of the game. I mean, you have to be a little more conservative with how you use Leviticus. You have to be, that extra bit of cautious with how you use the waifs. I mean, you want them close enough to the action that if Leviticus needs to regenerate into one, that he's not out of the game, or at least he's not out for an entire turn. So there's definitely some some things you have to be careful of playing that crew. Definitely something I would want to play with a bit more before really committing to to playing the crew on a regular basis. Like Jay said, I mean, you really want to play a whole bunch of games to get those sort of ins and outs and all the minutia of a crew worked out. And I feel like there's just so much that you can do with Leviticus and the core crew before you even think about expanding into things like adding constructs or adding undead with a couple of his limited upgrades. So I mean, awesome crew, a lot of fun to play. Definitely is going to take some serious learning to figure out all those ins and outs. But yeah, I also so planning to do the tournament and all. My default is definitely the Neverborn. That is the faction I'm most comfortable with. So I actually got a game in with Jacob Lynch the other day as well against Jay, not Jason J, but other Jay.
Big J.
Too popular.
Yeah.
Retired Jordan called Jason.
I haven't played with Lynch in a long time, and I think I only played with him once. And yeah, wow, eliminated. Holy cow.
They're the best 7-point model in the game.
It's ridiculous.
Horrifying.
Yeah, they're the best 7 Soulstone thing in the game. Jay, you need to buy like a box.
I need to buy a box?
Yeah. They're dual faction.
I don't even know if I've killed them. Like ever.
None of mine died that game.
See what I mean?
I made some. Who did I make sad with them? Was it you, Chris? Where I kept like.
Well, you take them every game, so you don't have to be more specific than that.
You did like 6 damage to one, and then it was like full health like 2 minutes later. Yeah,
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Horrifyingly enough, it is. Yeah.
You have to finish them off. You can't let them linger. That's the thing with them.
Well, they're so good at helping Jacob pull aces too, because every time they do get better, they flip. So when they brill shape, they flip. Like all that stuff is just letting him flip through more cards where he can get his pocket full aces. It just makes him more dangerous too. So there's just such a good combo piece with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I took expert cheater as well. I definitely like that upgrade, being able to cheat with the card face down. Helped me draw out a couple big face cards in that game. And honestly, the second you put your card down face down, it just makes your opponent stop just for a second to start thinking like, what is he trying to pull? Is it going to be a good card? Is he just like messing with me, trying to get one of my good cards out? Like, it completely changes the cheating game entirely, and it can be a really big deal. I mean, drawing out a face card early on in a turn means it's not there later when you have to do something important. So I think it's one of those things that'll be a bit more situational. Of course, I mean, certain opponents just won't care and will do what they were going to do in the first place. Other people, it'll freak out and will make them make bad choices. But it can definitely be a game changer. Definitely be a game changer. I would.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's got that like real neat poker thing going. The fact that you can bluff a card is pretty cool.
In a game where cards are the random number generator, having a poker player as like one of the characters is just cool as hell.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the coolest. I don't know. I think one of the coolest.
Stylistically, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I guess that leaves me. Stan already kind of told part of the story, but I'll bring it in from the guild perspective. So Stan and I played our game, 50 Soulstones, and of course Stan and I, a little bit of background, we've been playing Malifaux together since 2nd edition started. He's been my main opponent. He's usually been playing Neverborn, and I usually play guild. And the funny thing we laugh about is I don't think we've really played one game of Malifaux properly. and before you go, what? Let me explain that a little bit. Pretty much every time we play, we're working on some new models, and the way our kind of hobby works is whatever we're excited about is what we play with. So pretty much no matter what strategy or scheme flips or whatever our opponent declares their faction, we just play with whatever crew we just finished painting up or what we're most excited about. So long story short, leads to this game where I've got Hoffman done and he's got Leviticus done. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a little rough. I've played Leviticus before. He ignores armor, he ignores damage prevention, he ignores a lot of the rules in the book. and of course we flip Reckoning, which is a kill mission, which is where you have to kill two models a turn to get points. And one of the reasons I was excited about Hoffman is because I think he's going to be excellent at like turf war and doing ski missions. And just playing with the box, which is what I had painted at the time, I was a little concerned about his damage output. So long story short, we get into the game. It's actually probably pretty close for the first couple of turns. We're trading models. I actually got one of his waifs out with my Executioner, and I think it was turn 3. Stan just had a really great turn. I think his Killjoy got in, killed a model. Leviticus killed my Executioner, and I just started to lose a bunch of models. And I think Stan, if you correct me if I'm wrong, you also got my Guardian like on your last action or something like that, and that was pretty much when it was pretty dire at that point.
Yeah, there was that one turn. It was either that or the turn right afterwards, because your Guardian and Lazarus wailed on each other a little bit.
Yeah.
As well.
So the cool thing about Hoffman, but also the thing that is dangerous, is he has to be close to his robots that protect him. So basically, he can power loop with his Guardian and basically get his defense and his armor and all the stats that he wants to take. So as soon as the Guardian went, so did Hoffman's survivability. So, but I did get one really awesome thing happen. I got to blowtorch Killjoy in the face with Hoffman.
Oh yeah.
So that was
expecting that at all.
Yeah, Hoffman actually surprisingly has some really good combat punch. I think his minimum damage is 3, which is always nice.
True.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, oh yeah, Killjoy, like, the guy with polio is gonna walk up there, swing his, wrists at him, and fall over, and then Killjoy's just gonna eat him, and that's gonna be it. But
You've seen the movie Aliens, right? Like you've seen how the movie ends at the end, right?
yes, exactly what happened. Killjoy was shot out into space, and yeah, that just ended really badly.
Robot suits are bad.
The worst part of it. I was gonna say the worst part.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I just said the worst part of your game was I actually walked around and Stan showed me the king and joker you had in your hand, and I knew you had a joker in your hand, but the red joker, I was interested in how that would play out, but it just seemed like Stan just waited you out, counter joker.
Yeah, he held it from the start of the game. Yeah.
I did it. I got the red joker one turn.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So you're just drawing red jokers. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
I stole your best trick.
Yeah, apparently. But no, it was a really good learning experience because I got to see how Hoffman worked, and it really got me excited to paint up the Peacekeeper, which happenstance just came out last week, so I have him built up. And the Peacekeeper is going to be a really nice model because he starts at armor 2. He's got hard to wound. He's just a beat stick for the guild, and he's a construct, so he goes really well with Hoffman. Hoffman can heal him. He can give him extra armor, and he can be a really nice defensive and offensive anchor for that crew. So I feel like the one thing that the box lacked was a little bit of killing power, and I think the Peacekeeper's gonna really round that out nicely. I also picked up another surprise for you, Stan. I picked up a rail golem, so.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, it's a bit of an escalation. I'm gonna line up my 4 huge models and just push them at you next time.
The guild's version of the teddy bomb.
The only way to get back is vengeance. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been fun. If you've been following along at the Facebook page, we have a little group there. You can post your pictures. We've been posting our pictures. I have my finished Hoffman crew there. They're really fun to paint. To do them in the metals, they're quick and easy, but you actually get to try different things if you want to. I find metal's one of those things that you can do a quick job on, but to get it to look really sharp, you can kind of try different things. So I went for like a lot of shading when I was doing my metallics, just to kind of really get like a really dark and light contrast, and I really like how that turned out. I don't normally bust out my airbrush for Malifaux, but I did for these guys because I really, really like the Vallejo Game Air metallic colors. I don't know if you guys have sprayed with them. They're really sweet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, so I'll be working on the Peacekeeper next. I've actually been working on the Lucius crew too, which I mentioned I was going to eventually get around to. I have 4 models done from them.
Paint all the good models first. Paint the lawyers.
They're super cool. They're fun. And the Guild Guard, I really like the Guild Guard models. They're super cool to paint.
They're really nicely sculpted.
Their coats and their jackets and jacket coats and stuff, yeah.
Jay got what I was going for there.
Yeah. So moving on, that's what we're all working on. I figured we'd talk a little bit about the schemes. I don't really want to get too crazy into each individual one, but I think it's worthwhile chatting about the different types of schemes that you can encounter in combination with different strategies, and how you guys might approach those different scenarios with the crews you've been working on, and just in general, just so people can get an idea of how they should be selecting models for their pools and which they should be bringing. So there's pretty much a clear divide. At least I think there's kind of like a few different types of schemes, but you get your ones where you have to kind of move a lot, get to different parts on the map, and drop ski markers. And then you get your ones that you have to kill models for, whether it's peons or assassinate characters, or murder protege, where you have to actually have a model die yourself.
Frame for murder. You're talking about
Sorry, that's frame for murder, yeah. And then there's the ones where you have to like interact with models, like distract. So
Deliver a message.
Deliver, is that deliver a message?
Both distract
Just
and
distract
They both,
Yeah.
can do it, yeah.
they both do that. So, Ash, what do you think the strengths of the crews you've been kind of working on? What kind of schemes do you
Well, I
envision
think
being strong at?
Yeah, I think everything. It's funny because you talk about selecting your pool and then trying to figure out what your scheme selection is going to be look like. Or you're bidding for schemes. I think I do the opposite. I think I build my pool for the strategies.
Okay.
And then what I would do is I would shortlist schemes I want to see and
Right.
schemes I don't want to see. And that means when the schemes get flipped at the event, I know what the best basically I can take from that list is. So I would grab the scheme list and I would just rank them like, here's the top 4 I think my crews can do. Here's the middle 4 that in a pinch I'll take them, and here's just the ones that no, I'm not taking those. Because you're always gonna have 4 choices, right? You can always take a line in the sand, because you've always got that one there. So you know there's always going to be a single scheme that you can have, and then I think that there's an art to just kind of knowing what your limits are, right? So if you've picked a crew that can brawl because you know that turf war is in there, and you know you've got a lot of brawling pieces, then you definitely want to see things like murder protege. You definitely want to see things like make them suffer. And any of the killing ones where you're trying to kill X number of models per turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's really useful to create sort of like your body of stuff that you have to work with, and then once you've done that, go and shortlist the ones that you do and don't want to see, because you don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about it at the event. I think I would do that, like all the planning sort of beforehand when I knew what I had. And not try and figure it out at the event, and I can just kind of go. All right, I select my crew. I know which schemes I'm taking pretty much right away when I see the pool, and I get right to playing. So for me, for instance, because I plan on bringing, I'm not playing, but I'm gonna do all the stuff that I would do if I was playing. I'm gonna build a pool and take an example, force to the event. I've got a lot of scheme runners. So breakthrough, is something that I automatically want to see. Like I'm gonna have 2 Terratots in my pool. And they're just made for breakthrough. Like they just turn 1, I move 20 inches. Turn 2, I'm already dropping things in both corners of your table. Any kind of scheme marker dropping where it's deep deployment. Even actually, what's the one called where you're defending ones? You're dropping them outside your own deployment zone. You're sticking 2 inches to them.
Protect territory.
Yeah, protect territory. You can leave them in your deployment zone. So if these guys are here to scheme run, you do the opposite of normal scheme running. I just keep my guys in my deployment zone until the end of the game, and then just walk them out and drop the things and stand within 2 of them. Because they're so mobile, they can. You have to make your opponent cross the entire table to come get your 2 Terratots just to deny you that objective. And I'd reveal at the beginning of the game too. Just put them as far out of the way and out of line of sight as you possibly can. So you can kind of know by who's in your pool what you want to see and what you don't want to see. And likewise, I'm going to have Lilith in my crew, and she excels at making things with 5 or 6 boxes just explode.
Yeah.
So having Make Them Suffer show up, she's a no-brainer. If Make Them Suffer shows up in Turf War or something like that, then she'll be just wading in, cleaving in heads, and hoping she comes up against gremlins where they just keep splitting in half so she can kill 2 more every turn.
Oh wow.
That's amazing. That's like the best scenario. I kill one, another one shows up, so I can just score 2 more next turn. But yeah, no, I think that's it. I think if I was going to go about scheme selecting, I have my pool in mind. But yeah, no, that's my plan, is just to rank all the schemes that exist right in the classic pool, and then from there basically have like my top X schemes that I know my pool can do, and then middle tier, and then bottom tier, and then so whatever 4 show up, I know I've got options.
Interesting. I like the idea. It kind of reminds me of like a side deck strategy in like a Magic or a card game.
Yep.
Where you kind of do a little bit of preparing before the event about what options we might have against when certain things show up. That's good.
I dropped this deck and I dropped that deck. Yeah, I dropped that sidebar, this sidebar, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you said. I think it's really gonna help people speed up the pregame, because it can be kind of slow sometimes in Malifaux. So and you only got a finite amount of time in a tournament. So.
As much as that, to get the 10 objective points, you need to be scoring on turn 2.
That's
right.
right.
So you don't want to be thinking a lot about your scheme selection or hem and a hana, which schemes you want to do. You want to know right away which ones you're going to try and grab and then just start getting them.
And that's also an important thing to remind people about is gaining grounds is about scoring 10 points or as close to 10 points as you can every game.
Yep.
So it's not, you don't want to be thinking about denying your opponent. You want to be thinking about how can I score.
How do I score? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Jay, do you have any tips for picking schemes, or what have you been kind of doing in your games?
Well, no, I think Ash hit the nail there. You for two reasons. Obviously, the speed, or that is not taking forever to pick your schemes because you're not sure. Like it doesn't take a lot of preparation. Just takes a little. Literally just shortlisting things, kind of just being like, okay, if I see these four, combination of four or whatever, I'm gonna take these right away, and having that sense of purpose when you start playing is like, you know what it is. It's like you almost put the if the opponent's not as prepared as you are, you kind of rattle them. Like when you know what you're doing and you start scoring right away, you put them on the back heel, and they start making uh, decisions that may actually work in their favor because maybe they actually may abandon their whatever their plan or whatever their crew is good at, or they may pick the wrong tool for the job simply because you're confident. And
Nothing tilts people like being in a position of strength.
not really. Like it's you can apply this to anything. Well, if we're talking tabletop miniature games, it's super relevant in basically any tabletop miniature game. Going with my scheme, my crews. My crews are a little bit more like Ash described. I'm other than maybe Misaki's crew, I actually enjoy the game more when I'm not killing models. So I usually pick the schemes and crews to do schemes that don't involve killing all kinds of stuff every turn. And I think it works well. It works well in the game. You do getting your models in the different parts of the table, spreading your opponent out can be quite good. Now, obviously, the strategy is a big deal though, because if you get what was it, Reconnoiter, which was the one with the you got to keep 2 models in the center.
Oh, it's turf war.
Turf war. Yeah, sorry, that's turf war, exactly. So, like, I mean, if that's the main strategy, well, now you're going to be in the middle. You have to be. You need those points. So then you got to make a choice. Like, what are you gonna take? The obvious answer is maybe a killing type scheme, but on with my like if I'm like Brewmaster, I really hope to see distract. Like that's just bread and butter for that crew. Because I'll just get fingers, or I guess if you have Mr. Tannen to put that shutdown bubble down. So you just start beelining your guys and opponent's models, distracting them, and then you walk Tannen or fingers in, and whatever is in range of him doesn't do anything. They can't distract themselves. And you just do whatever you want from there. So yeah, I guess just be a little prepared. Do a little bit of homework. It doesn't require a lot.
I think there's some value in what you were saying too, though, about taking opposite schemes. If you're going to play the kind of guys that you play that like to hit and run, like if you are playing turf war and you know that guys have to be in the middle, taking something like breakthrough, and then throwing models way out to the wings, where he's got to decide now: does he commit to the middle, or does he go and chase you? Like there's an asymmetrical, like decision you're forcing on him, which I think is really interesting. I think that's a valid point you bring up, though, that you can use your scheme selection actually to affect your opponent.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. So that they thought they were
grab 3. Otherwise.
Yeah. And some of these, depending on what they pick, let's say they pick, whatever, kill 2 models a turn or whatever the killy ones are, and they take all their like brute guys. They line up, 4 bruisers, and you kind of do the opposite. Like you said, you're going in the corners or doing whatever. Like as soon as those big guys have to split apart and get out of like team up range, and they're not so bad. You can piecemeal them. You can find ways to deal with them on an individual basis, or they just give you free points. So
that's actually worth noting too, is that you hire and reveal crews before you actually commit to your scheme selection. So you're going to know what your opponent's
back out or
that's right. You're going to know what your opponent's taken before you actually commit to your schemes. So that's a useful tactic, is saying, hey, I'm going to take something that makes this bruiser chase me, or he's just going to give me 3 VPs.
Yeah. So yeah, that's probably that. I'm trying to think of what other. I got to play a funny one there against Jordan. I took Spring the Trap, with
It
Yon
worked.
Lo. I did actually, yeah. I don't remember if I think you were just too like I had a bunch of models pretty close to Rasputin. I think you were just damage controlling, and it gave me like you're finishing off trying to get rid of some models, and I think I managed to just kind of uh, I had to do some threading the eye, I think, because of the ranges of the you can't interact with, and what was it for another ski marker and all that. So like there was some tight moving around there, but I managed to score 3 points off that in one
Nice.
shot, so that was kind of cool.
There was some
And
tight math going on.
yeah, and I know for certain that I don't know for certain, but it seems like I mean you can vouch is I don't think you're expecting that.
Oh no, I didn't
Yeah,
expect it at all.
it was like come like kind of out of the blue. It was my one little very like that's a scheme that's not obvious at all
No, it actually
because
looked like you were doing line in the sand because
line
we
in
were
the
near the
sand.
center.
That's right. Yeah, so that might be a good one to take alongside line in the center because you're there anyway. And the other guy is probably, I mean, he's probably going to get his master in there. Their master is usually their best guy for whatever, whether it's killing or synergizing. So if their guy's near the center too, then you can just trap them. You just, I got 4 markers around your master. I'm going to score 4 points. And then, so that worked out pretty well there. And I'm trying to think of what other interesting different schemes. Messenger can be kind of difficult, I think.
The
You gotta
key
like
to
basically you gotta pin the note on the. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
Deliver
Jordan.
the message.
I
Yeah.
was, I was gonna say the key I found with deliver the message is you end your activation in base contact and then you win the initiative flip.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
pray for initiative.
Sure.
It
Yeah,
works
I
good
know.
if you have like if you have push mechanics in your crew. It can work really good too. Like
Yeah,
if you can push a minion
Or
up,
pull. You can pull them into you.
You, you need a free move basically, or the initiative trick to be
yeah.
in base contact with him. Exactly.
Or
So,
fast. You can hand it fast.
or fast. Yeah. I actually. So I guess my point is that one can be harder to achieve than it appears. I think what threw me off was that it takes a 2 action.
Yeah,
So
because it's
'cause in
not
my
a
mind,
standard interact.
I was like, oh, this is easy. I'll just, walk this model up, and his master is just sitting there, and it's no problem. Oh, wait a second, no, I can't do that.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, and now your model's like, yeah, don't get fooled by it because now your model's just stuck there, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That stitch together I was talking about earlier is actually one of the best Neverborn models for delivering a message because he has hard to kill. So you can run him into the opponent's caster, and he goes down. No matter how much damage he takes, he goes down to 1 life at the end of it, and he gains as soon as he does go down to 1 life, he gets reactivate.
oh,
So it's
there you
like,
go.
okay, I run into you, you kill me all the way down to 1 life, and then I get to activate it again and just deliver the message immediately. He's probably the most perfect Neverborn
Sure.
message delivery guy ever.
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
He's built for it. Oh, and he does splash damage. If you hit him and it's worse than Black Blood, it's 2 within 2.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh,
And nobody's immune to it.
you're not allowed to use them because they're first edition models. So
I've been told that before, actually.
It's a lot for deliver a message. Just the free leap. It's gonna jump next to you and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Swords too, yeah.
oh man, that's brutal. Yeah, Neverborn. Ugh.
Yeah, they're going to deliver
I'm an
messages.
alligator. I'm an alligator. Did you know I'm an alligator?
Yeah, Jordan, you have any tricks that you or anything to add to that, or
With the gaining grounds, well, to be honest, historically, I usually just show up to an event with the crew that I'm really practiced with, and then I just try to roll everybody. I didn't actually plan at all in the events that I've done well in, so winging it seems to work really well for me. So I'm the complete opposite of Ash. Is that I just hope, and it's worked so far.
A good officer never knows why he does anything, Rabbit.
Exactly, right? So,
There you
saying that with the gaining
Smell
grounds,
something, Rabbit?
beer.
Yeah.
I spoke with somebody who has a lot more experience with gaining grounds than me, and he suggested this specifically with Arcanists, that I basically plan solely between two masters rather than trying to cram a third one in there, because Arcanists rely very heavily upon their own stuff. Like they don't
Keywords are really
mesh.
specific to most of the masters. They don't share.
Yeah, so looking at that, I basically chose two masters that I'm comfortable with. One, a beat stick with Rasputina, and then one that's more scheme oriented with Colette. And then that way I can do whatever mission I need to, I can stream them towards it, and then with the schemes that flip up, I can hopefully concentrate on ones that complement the overall strategy, or at least the crew. Like if I only flip scheme marker related ones with Rasputina, then that could be a little bit tough. But if I've already kind of solidified that I'm going to be going with Colette and it's all scheme stuff, then it's gravy. Like I know exactly what to do with them, and I don't have to worry about taking models that aren't keyword appropriate or good for that crew, because I'm only worrying about 2.
Awesome, dude. Stan, you got any ideas to add in, or?
I mean, most of the things have been mostly covered. I mean, what it comes down to, I think, is for me at least, is deciding on revealed or unrevealed schemes in a lot of games, in a lot of cases. Again, this is all about scoring as many points as possible, and a lot of schemes you need to play revealed in order to get max points from them. And it definitely changes the way that you play and the way that you approach a game. If you know that your opponent knows what you're going to try to pull, or at least what your general plan is. But whenever I have an opportunity to play a game and there's a scheme that I want to take that can offer 3 points by being revealed, I will reveal it all the time.
Every time.
Then I will just play more aggressively in order to achieve that scheme as quickly as possible. Because I know that my opponent's going to try to stop me. Chris usually will try to stop me because he knows what I'm trying to pull. In a tournament, I mean, again, we're talking about scoring max points. It's going to be unrevealed all the time, every time.
Did you say unrevealed?
Revealed.
Oh, revealed, absolutely. Yeah.
I may have said unrevealed. It's 12:30.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'll be honest, man. I do the same kind of thing. The scheme that I always have the most success with is line in the sand.
You got some wind over there, buddy.
Little line in the sand.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, the ceiling fan.
Yeah, revealed line in the sand is weirdly really easy to get because you get to the mid and late game and your opponent, unless they're also doing line in the sand, they're not paying attention anymore. Like half the time they're trying to accomplish their goals and they're not paying attention to the fact that you have 3 or 4 scheme markers sitting on the center of the line.
That's the thing, too. In the Gaining Grounds format, chances are he's going to be trying to get his points and less concerned about removing your points, right? So
yeah, they're not going to touch your markers.
Yeah, one with dropping markers might be a kind of a safer bet in the Gaining Grounds format because you're not really harming his crew by putting a marker down, if you get my meaning right. So.
Well, again, if we're talking about the game being all about how many actions you can take, removing somebody's scheme marker is an action that you now can't take to achieve your own goals. So. That's
right. Yeah. The only thing I guess I would add to all that discussion is when I'm choosing my schemes, I'm definitely thinking about, and this weighs in very heavily when I'm deciding. I'm definitely thinking about my opponent's faction, and even more so once they have revealed their crew. It plays definitely a big decision. It's definitely a big decision maker for me, whether they're playing a very shooty crew or very close combat oriented crew, or maybe a lot of checks or willpower checks or board control. That's going to shape what I think I'll be able to actually accomplish. Because I think, just for example, if they have lots of shooting, running a scheme runner up the side might be less of a obvious kind of strategy. Or if I'm going up against Neverborn, and they, I have a pretty good idea that they're gonna out interact my guild. I'm not gonna try to do line in the sand, for example. Like, why would I even bother? So, I guess yeah. Historically, I've kind of focused more on worrying about what I should be worried about, as opposed to what my strongest schemes are, and that's kind of worked well for me in the past. It does also help that I play mostly guild, and I do default a lot to Vendetta and make them suffer and assassinate whenever I can. So
No.
Bodyguard too. You do.
Bodyguard's
some
a
good
great one.
survival.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love picking Bodyguard, and I mean, it's gonna be sad because I don't have the Lone Marshal in my pool, but I love giving it to him because he's so hard to kill.
I hate the Lone Marshal so much.
He just rides around, yeah, and just like stays alive. It's great.
Executioner is a good target for that too, though, because he can heal himself just by killing guys. So someone tries to kill him, and he just comes back to life.
Absolutely. So with that, we'll wrap it up with just little things that we think you guys should prepare for events. It doesn't have to be our Lords of War weekend, which is coming up August 16th, but we sure hope it is. For those of you that haven't checked it out yet, you can go to www.lordsofwartournament.com, or you can even check out our lordsofwargames.com Facebook and webpage for more information. Also, there's a event page on Ash's Facebook page under Guerrilla Miniature Games.
Yep, because the rule packs for both the events will be in there.
So you can get all the info there. That's probably actually your best spot to go for the info. And yeah, sign up, get signed up. And generally, when I've gone to events in the past, generally they've been Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Obviously, biggest thing for me was always getting lots of games in and play testing the scenarios and just kind of getting comfortable with my army. My biggest advice to anyone out there that's listening is go with what you know. If 9 times out of 10, I'd feel more comfortable playing something, and I'd do better with something that I knew in and out than trying a new army or crew that I was less comfortable with that I perceived as being more powerful. And that would be my biggest piece of advice for going to an event is take what you're comfortable with. You'll do better. You'll play faster. You'll be more confident. And yeah, I think you'll have a better time too. Ash, do you have any advice for event goers?
Yeah. Bring water and hydrate. There's nothing worse to the tournament than that, like between the eyes and the bridge of the nose headache. That
don't bring water. We
around
sell water.
Fine, whatever. Stay hydrated. Get up and walk around. Like play your game standing up, because otherwise you're gonna get grumpy. And bring everything you need to play the missions that you know you're going to be playing. Like, don't expect your opponent to have the stuff you need for the strategies that are being played at that event. So show up with all of the. Assume neither of you will have them. So show up with your turf markers. Show up with writable markers. Make sure you have a dry erase marker. Make sure you have card sleeves. Like do a front door sort of like assembly of everything that you need, and get it in your carrying case. And make sure you have it all. Bring a repair kit, because you're going to break models. It's like the law of human averages. Even worse, you may break someone else's model, so being able to offer them a repair kit is really nice. Just having some plastic or super glue, and even a hobby knife, a pair of side cutters in your side bag in your tournament thing is always a good idea. And then here's the thing, like, be prepared to lose your first game really bad.
Yeah.
Because if it's your first gaining grounds, you might play tons and tons of Malifaux in like your local meta, but you haven't played a bunch of gaining grounds tournaments, and you have to have a plan for what are you going to do if I totally scrub out in the first round. And hopefully that plan is I'm going to have a really good lunch and play a couple more games of Malifaux.
Yeah.
Have a really good time, because that's the whole point, is you're going to get to play with some people that you've never played against before, and that's more valuable information to take back to your local meta than anything else you could possibly be doing. To like up your game, because you're gonna see things and try things you just haven't seen, and that would be my advice for coming to a big tournament.
Yeah, I'd also add to that, just adding on to Ash's point, you use it as an opportunity to meet some, because you're going to meet new people, actually get to know those people and chat to them. How often do you get to put yourself in a room with 20, 30, 40 other like-minded people? And I don't mean like-minded people. This is like specific like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
A niche of a niche.
Yeah,
exactly. A niche within a niche within a niche, exactly. And that's we all share this passion, and take advantage of that. Ask them about their stuff. Show off your models. It's a weekend to have fun. It's not just a tournament. And if you look at it that way, you're gonna have a blast, no matter whether you win all your games or lose all your games.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jay, do you have any advice for tournament goers?
Yeah, ask questions. So, you're playing a game. it's perfectly fine to declare your intentions or ask, hey, are you gonna see my model if I go here?
Oh, you're stealing
Oh,
my
you will.
Infinity talk. You're
Oh,
stealing all
you
my
will.
Infinity talk right now.
It's true. It's extra relevant in Infinity, but it's relevant to any other game too. So
Yeah.
whether it's Malifaux being like, you move a guy behind something, you'd be like, is it all right? You know, is this going to be negative to flip? You know, is this count as cover? Yes.
Do I have cover here? Exactly.
Yeah. What did we agree this train was again?
Exactly. So, or even just simply, you might look over the table and say, "Oh, hey, what does that model do?" You know, you might be unfamiliar with something on your opponent's end, and you could just ask a simple question, and then they might not give you all the in and outs about it, but they might give you a general. I find most guys. I don't think I've had too many.
Oh, did we lose Jay?
Maybe. I was gonna say though, be prepared to show people your cards. It's just good.
Yeah. It's a common courtesy. If someone asks a question about your model, just jump to that step because you'll save both of each other time.
And then you don't have to like think you're hiding something from them either. Just be like, oh, here's a card, dude. Have a look.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to like feel like you're being shady by not being like, well, actually, he can jump over to that interact over there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to hold.
I tricked you. I'm the best.
Exactly. Sucker.
You back there, Jay? Yep.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep. You're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I think I don't know. I don't know, Chris. You can probably vouch for that part. I mean, how many, like, let's say 8 or 9 Warhammer tournaments we've gone to, and I don't know how many rounds that comes out to. That's like, let's say 45, 50 games or rounds over 3 or 4 years. I can think of only 1 or 2 people that like I may not play them again because maybe it wasn't as fun of an experience. But I guess my point is, don't be afraid. Like, these are other, cool guys. They have cool models. They like playing the game just as much as you do.
And
So just ask questions. Just it's fine. They're not gonna,
No
like
one's
you guys
dumb.
point out. No one's gonna think you're dumb. Yeah, exactly.
Because you didn't know what that guy does.
No. So do that, and this is I think this is a pretty good one too. Is read the tournament package.
Well, see, I just assumed they were doing that, but that's
well, you gotta, yeah.
Most of the answers to your questions are hidden in this document right here.
They're hidden, yeah. We go to great lengths to hide information just to mess with you. And I think one last point, I guess, to echo what Ash said a little bit is about you might lose your first game. Doesn't matter what game it is. Winning a tournament is going to be a great combination of knowing your stuff and being lucky. You will, the guy who wins the whole thing will have been lucky. There will be a chance there where he flipped that red joker at an opportune time, or
got initiative or something.
The die roll went his way, whatever. It's usually, when you look at the scores between the top 5 or 3 players in the event, it's usually very close, and sometimes it's not obvious, but it could have totally been just, I'm thinking back to, previous editions of Warhammer. It could have literally been a guy Infernal Gatewaying a unit off on the 6th turn, and he went from, losing to massacring, and now he wins the tournament. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just pure, he needed box cards and he got it, like that little bit, it has to be your day in a way. Now, that being said, they're usually the good players place well in multiple events, but that's because they did the other 80%, the prep and the practice games and learning the meta and all that. So I guess just don't be discouraged. It's not easy, but we don't do it for winning the thing. We do it because it's fun. So those are my points.
Yeah. Jordo, you played in some tournaments, specifically Malifaux tournaments, which is experience that we don't necessarily have. And you also used to run tournaments. Do you have any advice for the good people?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think when I play Malifaux is remembering that, like Jay was saying, sometimes the cards just really don't like you, and it's gonna happen. Like, the guy you said who's on the top is the guy who got lucky, and yeah, that's what happens. And remembering the fact that it's a game, coming in and thinking, I'm gonna play X number of games of this cool, unique game that I like, and that all these other people like, I think you're gonna have a much better time. win, lose, doesn't matter what it is. As long as you remember, hey, I'm playing a game. I think you'll enjoy it a lot more, and use it as an opportunity to meet people. Like you were saying, like you're going to see a room full of people who are playing the same thing as you that you can use as an opportunity to set up more games later on, and actually grow your hobby. Like nobody likes to be the only person in the room who's thinking about cool models. You want to be in a room full of people who are thinking about cool models. And as for running a tournament, I ran a lot of tournaments, and the number one problem that I kind of had, not the number one, but a really big problem I had, was that people after the event would say, "Oh yeah, this happened," and I'd say, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Like, and I'm not saying you're calling your opponent on something. I'm just saying that you guys didn't quite know a rule, so you were like, whatever, and just kept going. And then afterwards, the person who was actually right and that you did it the other way is upset. Just grab the TO. It takes us 3 seconds to say something. Like, you should know your rules, right? You're in a tournament, but if you don't know it, you can't find it quickly in the rules, just grab the tournament organizer. We'll have an answer. It's a lot easier.
But yeah, check the book first, though, because that's quicker.
The book is usually quicker because a lot of time the TO has to pull it out too, but like...
But yeah, if you can't find it in 2 minutes, then by all means.
Yeah, don't waste your time. Don't waste the TO's time, but don't waste your time. Like, it doesn't hurt just to say, hey, how does this work? Or even the person standing at the table next to you. Like, they might know
I might
right?
give you the look, though.
If it's, hey, there are such things as stupid questions, but
That's true.
Come on, buddy.
Come on, buddy. What
You
are
and I both know you can't interact with that people. That's good. Stan, you got any advice?
I haven't been to a tournament for like a decade, so.
You probably have the best advice then.
Don't let them smell your fear.
Yeah.
I'm going in with zero expectation of victory and purely trying to maximize fun. That is my plan. I'm going to do that by not being an irritation to the organizers and the players around me by not knowing what the hell I'm doing. I'm going to do it by not really caring if I win or lose my games, but still trying to do my best at them and make sure that they don't get bogged down in the minutia of, rulesy, can't do that, gets covered, doesn't get covered. I don't care, whatever. We'll flip some cards, have some fun. But that's really my plan. That's about it. Other than that, I have no sweet clue what I'm doing, so it's going to be an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. That's the thing is, you'll always learn something. That's one thing I've learned. Like going to events is, there's probably someone there that will do something to one of your models in the army that that you never saw coming, or maybe you'll think of something really cool on the fly in a situation you never thought yourself in and surprise yourself, or even I can't remember the last time I went to an event I didn't see an army or a model or a piece of a display board or something that didn't make the event just worthwhile going to on its own. So that's definitely what I would suggest, is if you look at all those things, you'll definitely have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. Seeing a whole bunch of really cool painted crews that maybe haven't seen around the Lords of War shop before, and yeah, meeting some other folks. I mean, I'm hoping to see some friends I haven't seen for a while who are going to be in town, so that should be a great time.
We got lots of people traveling for it.
Yeah, we got some Quebecois coming in, don't we?
Oh, Jesus.
We're getting the band back together.
Oh
man.
He might slap somebody. Who knows?
I hope so. That'll make my weekend.
I hope so. I hope he takes a glove off and then hits him with that.
Oh,
Gloves.
I hope he's listening to this right now.
Oh man, let's embarrass him more then. Why not?
Do it. It'd be awesome.
Well, the best part is if anybody goes to this tournament, they're gonna know exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Guy in the gloves.
The guy glove slapping people. That's
Why is he wearing a
obvious
white
thing.
glove?
Why is he wearing a white glove? Why does he keep hitting everyone he seems to know with a white glove?
I wanted to throw in one more point there is if you're the type who just can't handle losing maybe your first game or two games, please don't draw. It
Yeah,
goes
because
without saying.
if you drop, you're not hurting anybody. You're just letting me play games for the rest of the day, and like that's
And also the other people who paid money, and because it's about getting all the games in.
Yeah.
You don't want to you imagine you put money for this great weekend and there's no opponent for you in the third round because the guy you were supposed to play just dropped and left, and it's not. It just makes a mess of the tournament and for the organizers and for the players and leaves a sour taste in their mouth. So.
And just because you lose your first game doesn't mean you're not going to win.
No, exactly. So.
Still a
If you're that type of person, do us a favor and stay home. So
you got to remember too. There's only one overall winner. So if you look at it as ones and zeros, like if I don't win, I'm not going to have fun. Chances are you're not going to have fun.
Yeah.
So don't look at it that way.
Although we have to talk about with the title for the prizes, it's you get to be the mayor of Malifaux.
The mayor?
The mayor of Malifaux.
That's right. The winner is the claimed mayor of Malifaux for 2015.
What?
So
the second overall is the union boss.
Nice.
And
Did you get a third?
The third is a gremlin rancher.
Nice.
Yeah. So Stan, you may no longer be the mayor of Malifaux, or will you?
I better get a sash.
We will have Stan present the.
I might have to stitch something up for that.
Yeah, we might have to get you a sash.
And a mask too, so you can look like Lucius.
Oh, wow.
Keys to the city.
That's right.
Which city? Just as long as there are keys.
Yeah, so this will probably be our last Malifaux podcast before the event. I don't know, we might be able to get one in next week, but no promises. And we actually been meaning to get around to talking about Age of Sigmar, so I know we keep saying that, but we're probably going to do one. I promise at some point.
Maybe we'll even announce what scenarios we're doing.
Pardon me?
We'll announce the scenarios.
For Age of Sigmar?
Yeah.
You want to do that right now?
No, we could do that in the podcast.
I see what you're saying. Well, we have a package that's done, so you actually can look it up. So
nice.
There's no surprises. They're in the book. The ones in the book.
The ones in the Age of Sigmar book, not the proposed new book. They come out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't think too many people know about that one yet. That's super secret information.
Well, sure, yeah.
Probably everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, thanks, guys, for coming on. It's getting late. We're in our actual recording time right now. I'm sure some of you want to go to bed. I just picture Jordan with 4 empty coffee cups beside him.
It's Coke bottles, but yeah.
I finished painting 2 HVTs, and I got like a base coat done on my Hexa. I'm pretty excited about that.
I got 15
How are you
Bretonian.
What?
That's so upsetting. I basically just full focus on the podcast, no other tasks going. Ash is painting armies as we speak.
Yeah,
we talked about this. Ash can turn left.
Yeah.
I've been painting Bretonians this whole time.
I haven't
man.
listened to you when you talk for like the last 9 years.
You're probably healthier for it.
Oh my god.
I still have horrible, they're not horrible flashbacks, but the the time you came by the Square One shop back in the day and you sat down, you built, converted, and painted a Baneblade while doing a shop visit in 4 hours.
Yeah, I did do that, didn't I?
And then got up and did his entire review from memory.
Yeah, well.
Speaking of the best reviews is when Ash was my direct manager, as in he worked in the same store that I worked in.
It's true.
And he docked his points for the display case lights being out. And then when I remarked that, but Ash, you're in charge of ordering case lights, he just said, "That's right." And then he marked an X and marked away.
Rolling downhill.
He doesn't want to hear your sass. You should have reminded him.
No, he wasn't wrong. That's the thing. He wasn't.
No. Well, I knew that at the very least, Ash was dedicated to his job. So I was like, okay. That's fair enough.
We never got perfect on a shop visit.
What's that?
I don't think our store ever got perfect on any of my own shop visits.
No,
No,
God,
it
no.
was always a mess.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys, for coming on. We'll do this again sometime soon. I know we have the new Shifting Loyalties book coming out, and the new two-player starter set, which is really exciting. So I'm planning to do a show around the book, talking about what's in it and the campaign system, and maybe even looking at doing something with that with Ash on Guerrilla Miniature Games. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, man. It's just good memories of Mordheim, bringing it back, right? So
that's it. That's all I do now is campaign games. Bam! Every game is campaign games.
I'm a little
Not a
jealous.
campaign. I don't want to see it.
That's it. There's no experience. I don't care.
I can't break my model. Can't break his arm. Ugh.
That's right. I want to know what
So
happens when he gets frostbite on his toes.
-1 willpower.
-1 toe stat.
No stat.
All right, it's way too late. End this.
Yeah,
All right.
we're out.
Good night, guys. Take care. Thanks a lot.
Night.
Bye bye.
Cheers.